Hi guys, today we've got some work to do in the vegetable garden. I would call this a midsummer maintenance day. I've got some tomatoes that I want to prune and fertilize. I've got some peppers that I want to stake up. And I think maybe I want to plant some summer squash and beans. But first, I need to take care of the garlic because I had the garlic curing downstairs in the basement for probably over 3 weeks now, and I completely forgot about it. So we are going to address that first, and then we're going to kind of go systematically bed by bed and just kind of see what needs to be done along with some of the stuff that I want to get done. Now, we are at the mercy of the weather because it is the dog days of summer. It's supposed to be 94 degrees here today. So I am just going to start with the garlic and just kind of see how far we get before either I give out or the weather gets too hot. But I think, you know, now that we're in like the midsummer heat, those just scorching days of heat, you don't really want to be out here like all day or in the middle of the afternoon. I kind of want to get out here. I like to get out here early morning or early evening and kind of do a little bit of work. So the next few videos probably or until like we start to like cool off a little bit will be a little bit shorter because I don't want to pack too many projects into these videos and be out here for hours and hours until like I just plop on the ground from heat exhaustion. So just wanted to get that out there too. But let's start with garlic and see what we can get done today. I will need to address this later too. This is what the birds and the squirrels are doing. They're fighting over the sunflowers and they are just shredding them. Like I come out here every morning and I find sunflowers just kind of dangling and just murdered. So I'm okay with it. I didn't realize they were going to go so crazy on these, but I would rather have them tear after the sunflowers than go after the peppers or the tomatoes. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I just really lightly put some bird netting around here because I did notice something got into the tomatoes and took a bite out of one of those sunrise bumblebee tomatoes. Anyways, back on track. Let's do garlic. So here's our garlic, and you can see that it has completely dried down. There is maybe just a little tiny tinge of green, but for the most part, it is ready to go. Our paper has dried out. You can see all the soil and the roots are done. So at this point, all we need to do is clean it up. Brush off any loose soil. We don't want to mess with the paper too much, but we just want to trim all of the foliage and the roots. So really to do that, we just take our pruners, take a little snip, and then I like to leave about 1.5 inches of the stem. And that's what we end up with, our garlic. Let me show you another one. And we didn't have a super great harvest this year. I've got tiny little bulbs, but I can use these. So I'm just going to come in here, remove the roots, remove the stem, brush off any dirt, and there it is. We've got our garlic all cleaned up. This is all the dead, spent foliage and roots. This is our little basket of garlic that we're left with. And you know, even though we had a small harvest, I'm actually really happy with these because they're decent size. I can cook with these. I will most likely go for these first because these, you can see the paper has kind of split so the cloves are exposed. These would not last as long as a head of garlic like this in storage because the paper over here protects the cloves from desiccating and rotting a lot quicker. So If you were to store these, you'd want to store them in a cool place between like 40 to 50 degrees with about 50 to 60% humidity. I'm going to be harvesting off of these. I'm going to be using these for cooking. So these will probably last a few weeks. I'm going to put these in a cool place in one of our cupboards upstairs in the kitchen, and I'll just grab them as I need them. Okay, now that the garlic is done, we're going to go work on staking the peppers. This is our pepper bed over here, and you can see just how big some of these plants are. They're like 2 feet tall, and ooh, there's a pepper right there ripening. That's an Armageddon. Those will burn your mouth. But I want to come in here and stake these, because what's happening is when we get a little bit of rain, they're a little top heavy, so they're starting to kind of like flop a little bit. So I want to get them staked, so if and when we do get some more rain, I don't want any branches to snap. I've got these 4-foot garden stakes here. I'm going to use one per plant, and I'm going to use this plant tape to fasten the plant to the stake. I thought I had a roll where it was just like a 1/2 inch, but I think I used all of that, or I can't find it. But I've got this 2-inch one, so I'm just going to cut strips lengthwise about 3 inches long and just kind of secure the plant right around the stem. I'll show you. So I'm going to take my plant stake and put it right towards the center of the plant and just push it in until it's nice and firmly planted in the bed. Then I'm going to take a strip of this tape, cut it about 3 inches long, and then I'm just going to cut strips. You don't have to be even. You get about 3 strips. See? So what you want to do is you want to take your stem, the main stem, get it as close as you can to the stake without putting too much stress on it, and then take your tape, your plant tape, and just wrap it around. And there it is. Okay, now we just got to do that 15 more times. All right, we got them all staked up, so they should be good to go when we get some rain. Now, let me come in here and just show you guys real quick. I didn't stake them all the way down towards the base. I just provided a little bit of support midway up the stems, just to keep them from toppling over in the rain. Oh, we got a bumblebee coming in. There it is. Anyway, so really happy to have that done. I'd actually be happier if we got some rain, but when we do, they're all ready to go. Now that the peppers are staked up, we can move on to the tomatoes. So what I'm going to do today is a light prune. I'm going to focus primarily on the lower leaves and removing them, because you don't want them touching or resting on the soil, because when you water or when it rains, you get that backsplash and it hits the underside of the leaves and it stays wet, and that's just a breeding ground for infection and fungus and viral issues. So we want to get rid of those, and then I'm going to inspect the plant and see if there's any larger branches or stems that just have a lot of foliage on them, but no fruit or flowers. Because when I planted these, it was cooler out and the tomatoes kind of liked it a lot. They started to set their fruit, and then we got hit with that heat wave. And so they just kind of stopped with the flowering and fruiting. They focused primarily on just leafing out a lot more. So there's a lot of foliage in here, but not a lot of fruit and flowers. So I do want to clean that up a little bit and just kind of get some more light and air going through it. Now that we're cooling off a little bit, I have started to see a little bit more flowering and more fruit, which is exciting. But I think just getting rid of some of that, some of those stems that are just leaves, the plant can focus a little bit more on fruiting and flowering and all that stuff. But I don't want to go too heavy on the pruning because it will stress the tomato plants out. Because if you think about it, you're hacking into this plant and making these cuts, and every cut is going to stress the plant out, and it's going to focus on healing that cut too. So you don't want to go too crazy on it. You just kind of want to lightly prune, air it out, get some airflow and light in there, because you get that in there and you kind of lower your chances for infections and pests and diseases. So that's what we're going to do today, and then we're going to come back and we're going to fertilize everything. So let me show you on this pineapple tomato what my plan of attack is, and then we'll go in and just go through all of them. So you can see these lower leaves right here, they come all the way down and they're about an inch or two from the ground. And this is what you don't want. You don't want these leaves so close to the soil, because when you water or when it rains, that backsplash is going to hit like the leaves and the underside of the leaves. They're not going to dry, and you're going to end up with mold, mildew, fungus, and just a lot of issues that will eventually just go back and kill your plant. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, take our pruners, and just snip that off and get rid of it. We'll do the same thing to this lower one here. We'll get rid of that. And you can already see just those two little cuts opened up this whole bottom now. So this whole area can get a lot more air and light in here, and that means that the soil won't stay super wet longer. And you can even see, like right over here on this side, let me come around, you can see this branch right here. Let's get over here. You can see this is actually touching the ground, so we want to come in here and get rid of this one too. Let me get in here. And just those three little branches has opened up this whole area. Now let me show you what I'm going to be doing towards the middle of this plant. So you can we'll come in here and I'll show you. So here we've got one of the main stems that's coming up here. This is the leader. We've got a side branch, a side leaf coming over here. And right here, we've got a sucker. And this has gotten really, really big, but there's no flowers or fruit on it, but it's taking away energy. So I'm gonna cut this right there and remove it. And you can see it's just foliage. And now that opened up the center of the plant to allow for more airflow. And I'm going to leave a little bit more of the foliage up here because I want to kind of protect the fruit from too much sun, but I also kind of want to use the foliage to hide the fruit from the birds, because I've noticed on one of the plants that there was a little bit of damage to one of the fruits. So once I finish pruning all these and fertilizing, when Mo gets home, he's gonna help me put a little bit of netting to keep the critters out. So you can see just these four cuts. That's all I really need to do. And you can look at the plant now. There's a lot more room for air, sun, and you can see through to the other side where the other plants are. And that is just, that's what you kind of want, because you want the air and the sun to kind of be able to go right through to the other side. Now I'm gonna go in and finish up all the plants, and then I'll come back around and show you. And I can smell that tomato smell on my fingertips from touching the leaves. I love it. All right, here we go. Okay, so we just finished our pruning, and you can see a lot more airflow and light coming in through the bottom and into the middle section. I didn't really mess with the top because I still want to protect any fruits coming in from the birds. But overall, we've gotten rid of a bit more foliage. You can see right in through here. There's just a lot more airflow and light coming in. And you can see something found one of the tomatoes and already took at it, so we are definitely gonna have to net this and remove this. Dang, I wanted to be the first one to try it. But overall, you can see they're all setting fruit. Everything's looking good. Now we just have to fertilize and put some netting on here because these birds and squirrels are ruthless. I'm going to be fertilizing with Tomato Tone and Garden Tone. If you don't have Tomato Tone, you can use Garden Tone. Garden Tone is for pretty much everything. I picked up Tomato Tone because it was on super sale, so I thought, hey, why not? So I'm going to use the Tomato Tone on the tomatoes, Garden Tone on everything else, and just water it all in. And if you're unsure how much to use, you can just follow the back of the bag, follow the instructions. I pretty much eyeball it and just kind of give every plant a nice dose. Let me show you how I apply it. I just put a sprinkle all around the drip line and just scratch it all into the mulch. And then we just water it in. I would like to harvest some carrots just to see how they are. So these have been in the ground for over 60 days. I think these are the scarlet gnats, so I don't know what we're gonna get. Oh, nice. Oh, they're all tangled up in here. That's not bad. I'm probably just gonna harvest this little section right here. But let's see what we get. Let's just start over here. I didn't thin these out, so these are all tangled up in here. Little baby. Let's try a few more up close. Oh, that's nothing. Let's try a couple up here. Nice. they're little, 3-4 inches, but you know, for not thinning them. Look at that. That is so cool. 3 inches long, but I still think it's great. That's good. That is really sweet. I'm so excited. Yum. And this is just half of our carrot harvest. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So good. So we got the garlic all cleaned up, pepper staked, tomatoes pruned, half of the carrots harvested, and everything in the vegetable garden fertilized and watered in. So I would say all in all, that is a very good, productive morning. And we're now coming into the afternoon. The heat and the humidity are rising. I am starting to sweat and my fingers starting to hurt. So I think I'm going to call it for today. I am very happy with everything we got done. One thing I did want to mention too, and I don't think I mentioned it when we were pruning the tomatoes. You want to make sure when you decide to prune them, you want to make sure that there's no forecast of rain for the next 48 hours, because any cut you make, you want to give it time, you want to give the plant time to heal. And if you introduce moisture and rain to it, that's just leaving an open wound for infection. So just remember that. And all in all, I think it was a good morning in the garden. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.